Comparing decimals. In this video, we're going to compare a few decimal numbers using the less than, greater than, or equal to symbol. Just as a reminder, the less than symbol looks like that, the greater than symbol looks like that, and this is the equal symbol. So our two decimal numbers here for this first example are 351 thousandths and 36 hundredths. Well, when I first look at this, I would just go, hey, my first decimal number was to the thousands, and my second decimal number is to the hundredths, so therefore the first decimal number is correct. Well, that's not always the case, and in fact, in this question, it's not the case. So this is the step I want you to follow every time you're comparing decimal numbers. So I want you to stack the numbers based on place value, one on top of the other. So I'm just going to write them out just underneath here. I'm just using the grids to kind of line everything up. 0.36. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I notice that there's an extra place value in the first decimal number, so I'm just going to add a 0 to the end of that. So now we have the same number of place values. Just a note about zeros, I can add as many as I want, and it's not going to change the value of that decimal place, okay, because zeros don't affect them. I can even add zeros to the other side of the decimal place, and it's not going to affect them. Anyways, let's just ignore those ones. Okay, and then these ones as well. So, starting from the left, I'm going to compare the numbers in each place value. Well, in the ones place here, the place values or the numbers in the ones place are the same. So I'm going to move on to the tenths. And what I notice is, once again, they're the same. Now let's move on to the next place value, which is the hundredths. And what do we notice here? Well, what I noticed here is the number 6 is bigger than 5. So therefore, because 6 is bigger than 5, I know that my bigger number is 0.36 or 36 hundredths. So that is what I'll be putting as my symbol in between. So this would be read out as 0.351 is less than 0.36. So I want you to be following these steps. So I want you to stack them, the numbers that you're comparing, one on top of the other, and then starting from the left, work your way until you find the difference in numbers. And also, if you have to add zeros, that's not the end of the world, because zeros don't change the value of the decimal. They're just kind of as placeholders in there. And there's invisible zeros everywhere. They can be in front, like I added in front of the ones place, or they can be after the decimal place. Okay, let's do one more example. Okay, so once again, we're comparing two decimal numbers using the less than, greater than, or equal to symbol. And the first step I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite the decimal number lined up. So 34 and 42 thousandths and 34 and 5 hundredths. I see that I have an extra place value in the top number, so I'm just going to add a 0 to even them out. And now, starting from the left, I'm going to look at the tens place, and the numbers are the same, so I'm going to move over to the ones column. The numbers are the same. I'm going to move over to the tenths column. Numbers are the same, and now I'm at the hundredths column. And what I notice here is we have different numbers. And I know that 5 is bigger than 4, which makes our second decimal number the greater number. So I'm going to put the less than symbol in between. Okay, so 34 and 42 thousandths is less than 34 and 5 hundredths. So once again, lining them up, adding the extra 0, and then starting from the left and working my way to the right, I figured out which number was bigger. Easy peasy, hey? Okay, one more example. In the next example, we're going to be ordering 3 decimal numbers. So in this final example, we want to circle the smallest decimal number and then order them from smallest to largest. Okay, it's very important to underline what we're doing because I notice that when I get the check-ins, some students are ordering from the biggest number to the smallest number instead of the other way around. So it's really important to make sure that you're doing what's being asked. So the first thing I want to do is I want to circle the smallest number. Well, let us, once again, there's 3 numbers here. I'm going to stack them one on top of the other. So I'm just going to do it a little lower here. So we've got 0.481, 0.048, and 0.401. So to figure out the smallest number, I want to see which one has the smallest place value in a given place value. So starting at the ones, they're all the same. I'm going to move over to the right, 1 decimal place, and look at the tenths place. And what I notice is the 0 is the smallest. So I know my smallest number here, decimal number, is 0.048. So I've circled the smallest number. And now I want to order the numbers from smallest to greatest. Well, we've already done the smallest number, so I'm going to just write my final answer as 0. I'm going to start writing my final answer because I already know what the smallest number is. Now I need to figure out what the second number is. So let's just cross out this middle number because we're no longer comparing it and just look at the other 2 numbers. So I notice the tenths are the same. So I'm going to move over and go to the hundredths. And what I notice here is I've got different numbers. So I have an 8 and a 0. I know 0 is smaller than 8, so I know this is my second smallest number, and then this is the biggest number. So let's just write out our final answer, 0.401, 0.481. So my final answer is this, from smallest to greatest. So I've done that part as well. It's now time for you to do the practice problems in your learning guide. Good luck!